Thanks for staying with us. So the Senate was quite rowdy yesterday. I mean, this whole week has been about the screening, all sorts of drama. You know, when they started, it kind of started slow, and we all criticized how lackadaisical they seem to have come across. But since that first one, bum, the senators have been giving it to us back to back. So the Senate was in a very rowdy session over a motion seeking to step down the screening of Mr. Festus Keyamo, SAN, as the ministerial nominee, according to one of the lawmakers representing Abia Central, that's Mr. Darlington Nwokocha. He said that Keyamo ignored the summons of the parliament back in 2020 over the employment of 774,000 Nigerians recruited for the Special Public Works Program. If you recall, I think it was 20,000 naira. We took that story back then. It was supposed to be 20,000 naira to be given to 1,000 people per local government. And there was issue of the disbursement. You know, there was, I think it was 52 billion naira that was approved by the National Assembly, and there were issues concerning the disbursement because people were saying that I didn't get, we got, others did not get. There was a lot of drama. And then the National Assembly has summoned him. Tell us what happened. Oga refused to show up. He did not acknowledge their summon. And, of course, the lawmaker, the senator, Darlington was waiting for. It was like he recorded for him, like he waited, like okay, now you are coming because he came in. I mean, for those of you who have watched it, he came in, he took a bow, right, left, you know, very confident, and then you know how they give you opportunities to do the intro. Oh my goodness, he was really smart. He really gave the intro of how he, by himself, took the federal government to court concerning the importance of ensuring that the military were able to be confirmed by the Senate before becoming ministers. So he was the one that took that much. So I was saying that I was the one, what you're enjoying today, the power you're enjoying today, I was one of those that ensured, I took the government to court, you know, to let them know how important it is. Unfortunately, they were just watching him finish. When he now finished, of course, Senator Darlington went for him. But listen, these are the issues. You were once a minister, right? And you had a task to do. And a budget that was approved by the National Assembly was allocated. Your job was supposed, because they have oversight functions. That's their constitutional right to oversight and look at what you're doing. But they called him, he never showed up. Now, should somebody like that be also recommended, be nominated to be a minister? That's one. Secondly, do you think, because eventually he apologized, do you think it was necessary for him to apologize, or there was no need for him to apologize?
Well, what exactly are we apologizing for? Is he apologizing for the fact that he did not recognize or respect the Senate enough to answer when they called him to defend how he spent the money?
Possibly, yeah.
And all shades of wrong. So, first, Festus Keyamo is a very, very controversial person. Not that he's a bad person, not that he's not an effective, efficient person, but he's a controversial person. Before they nominated him, everybody was like, are they really not going to nominate Festus Keyamo? They nominated him, like, really? They nominated him? How could they nominate him? So, whichever way, Festus Keyamo represents a lot of controversy for this administration and this government. And he had that baggage coming in. Beforehand, he would have done what Wike did. Write a letter up front. He's a son, for God's sake. You know that they were going to come to you with what you did. You have written a letter up front explaining why you didn't show up and how the money was spent, so that that question would be irrelevant at that platform. He didn't take advantage of that. Also,
well, the APC administration, he felt that these are my people. He kept telling us he's my friend, my former boss, my oga, my colleagues. He was just reminding them that we are together in this. So he didn't expect them to be coming at him like that.
So I feel like, one, it was wrong. I think it was see-finish. There was a see-finish between the nominee, Festus Keyamo San, and the National Assembly. The see-finish happened from last administration, which is why they would invite you and you will not show up. Who are you? You are a human being. You are a citizen. The Senate represents us. I still want to know what happened with the money. I want to know how the money was spent. And they summoned you and you did not show up. For whatever reason, I take it personal as a Nigerian, as see-finish of my representative and of me. So before you get to represent me again as a minister, I would love to be sure you truly will respect all of us as Nigerians. And I don't think that we resolve that issue appropriately. I feel like there was still a lot of political resolution of an issue that should have been dealt with on an ethical level. So what is your KPI? deal with the issue, not political resolution. What we have now is like we use sellotape to patch something. We have not resolved this issue at all. This thing might still happen, and when we don't go through issues properly, we will keep on facing that same challenge.
Let me come to Mariam. Your thoughts?
Yeah,
He's apologized.
I mean, he's apologized, and then because of what we've seen, the precedents that they have laid out with the other nominees, where a lot of people were called, when they were called, they were told to just bow and leave, you know, bow and go.
Our dear friend.
Yes, you know,
Zamfara.
so we have some governors that at the time that they left office, the citizens were praying to God to finally answer their prayers. We have the new administration saying that the former governors have done this or done that. We have a senator now that had gone on TV to accuse some senators of, or allege that some of them, when they were leaving, took things away. I have not seen any questioning based on those accusations or allegations. And to put Keyamo on that stance, for me, it's like, why the double, you know, what is happening here? I believe that everyone should be asked exactly of what they have done before now. If there are any issues or allegations or accusations that are out there, they should have been made to address it. But why were those ones asked to bow and leave, and this particular person
that's a fantastic
asked to answer it? So I don't get that.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. I didn't even notice that, because it seems like it was a personal issue. Because you disrespected us, we're putting you on the spot. The other guys, it was the people that were having. Remember, former governor Matawale, who were complaining that he carried everything from the State House.
Yes.
We don't know how true these things are, but the people saw videos. So there were questions to be answered for those ones, but they allowed them to go. What are your thoughts, Zamala?
Yeah, I think he actually addressed that issue briefly during the screening, because he said that all the people that received the stipend were paid directly from the CBN, that he had no contact with the money, and the agency that was in charge of that program so had no contact with the money, and there were proofs to show that they actually received the money. However, what I am concerned about is this apology of a thing. We need to start holding our leaders accountable. We need to understand that appointing someone to lead a ministry goes beyond their CV, their paper qualifications. It also has to do with their character. Do they have the soft skills to be a leader? Do they have interpersonal skills, communication skills? Because you can be the most brilliant boss in the room, and your subordinates think that you are very bad. Let me not use the word in my head. And then when you have a bad character and then you cannot motivate your subordinates to deliver, then the success of that organization that you lead would not, it's questionable. It will not reach its potential goal. So as we are nominating these ministers, it is important to check their characters, because when you're looking for a job, you know, there are referees. People ask for references. Let us go and check if this person has a good behavior to be able to.
Thank you for taking me there, Damola, because
yes, so we need to check properly. And also, these nominees should not just apologize because they got caught, because I do not want to believe that it is now that they are realizing that they stepped out of the line. They must have known, but they did not just care. But now they know what is at stake. Now that's why they're apologizing. It's fine if they are pardoned, but they should also work on their deeply rooted behavioral issues, you know, so that we have more confidence.
Because I like what you said, that those issues are something that we all have to deal with when we have to lead. Because these are public issues with arrogance. They felt that, why are they calling me? And we talk about something which was important. Like, we often forget that those people in the National Assembly, they are representing us. It's like you're talking to me. So if they summon you and you don't show up, you're telling Nigerians, I don't send you. I think that's one thing
before we
highlight.
Move on, I want to say something that Mariam mentioned, and it is extremely important. And why I say it is important is because people would respect you when you carry yourself as a respectable person. And we need our senators, because now they are seeing how important it is and how their carriage is disrespecting their portfolio. The things, people have said things that are nasty about them, negative comments about them, that when they explain why they said it, even you will understand why they said it. The behavior of our senators reflects on their position, and their position is too important for them to play with. Also, if you want to be respected, you the way you talk, the way you, the standard you are consistent with your standard. So Mariam said that for some people, they say bow and go. For some people, they did not allow them answer any allegation. For some people, it was a case of, we know you, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So if you are that kind of person, why would I respect you? You haven't earned my respect. Yeah. Because I can see that there's no consistency to your person. The character consistency is not there. The Senate's first screening was very, very poor. All of us came here and we were shouting that, no, this is not what we expect from you as senators. No, you can't do this. So imagine if somebody is watching all of that, you're seeing that flip-flop, then you're expecting me to respect you. I have seen you finish now, so I might not be able to. So we're begging senators that going forward, we have the handbook. We must have a system on how we do screening that is consistent for everybody going forward, so that there will be no case of disrespect to that position going forward.
Talking about behavior, even yesterday, after the senator from Abia raised that motion, there was a lot of rowdiness. And the Senate president kept hitting the gavel, trying to get them to calm down. They didn't listen, you know, quack, 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 quack. Senators, distinguished senators. They didn't answer him. And I was thinking to myself, hey, guys,
what's going on here?
He had to stand up. And according to the rule book, once he stands, everybody must be seated. But really, he didn't need to. Eventually, they all sat down when he stood up. But he shouldn't need to get to that level. He kept hitting the gavel repeatedly. They didn't answer him.
Respect yourself.
Because everybody was divided on because so eventually, the minority leader, that's Senator Akpabio, Daily now moved the motion that, you know what, let's have an executive meeting. Let's move away from here. Send out the media guys. Let's have a private meeting where we can discuss this issue. But while the majority leader, yes, and so I was going to say something now. So eventually, while they were having that meeting, the Senate president, the majority leader, and a few others went to the villa to go and discuss this matter. We don't know what they discussed.
We're supposed to have three tiers of government: the executive, balanced and checked by the legislature, both now being checked by the judiciary. If we are seeing obviously that the legislature is depending on approval from executive, that the policy and stance of the assembly changed after a meeting.
No, that's not. No, look at it that way.
No.
Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you.
A controversial.
Let me explain to you what it came across as to me, my own interpretation. You are the president. You nominated Damola amongst others. I am the Senate president. I trust you that you chose Damola for a good reason. And I would like to believe that I have these issues against Damola, but because I know that you mean well and you're trying to achieve something, I will go back to you to find out, okay, why did you pick Damola? What's the issue with Damola? These are the issues people have said about her. Are you sure you want this person? So from him leaving the plenary to go and see the president, it's not to assume that he's going to go and ask for approval. Yeah. It's more to get clarity on why did you nominate Damola? How would you assume it's to get approval?
You might be friends with each other, but you are occupying two different roles. Yeah. Your job is to checkmate her. You cannot afford to be seeking information from the person you're meant to checkmate. No, you know why I'm saying that? Because we have two different roles. I remember when I was working full-time here, Mariah was Deputy Director of Programs, that Mariah is my friend. And Mariah needs to query me. And she will tell me, I'm sending you a query. Because even though we are friends, there is a difference between our friendship, our trust, and the role I'm occupying as your boss or as the one checkmating you. Even though I know you, I trust you that you had a reason for nominating this person, I'll still do my job unbiased. I'll come and call you later and say, Oga, don't be so. It's just that we need to still do this, our job, as it is.
So maybe that's what he did.
The way it is right now,
we're not in the room with them. Exactly. Did we follow him into the room? But we know
well, you know how I feel about politics. Yes. You know they have different systems, different principles for different people and different scenarios. I understand what Tokwe is saying. Yes, we really need to have almost like a separation, so that there's able to be checks and balances. But also, we need to also have collaborations, because we have had situations where we know that the legislature is just waiting for the executive. So any policy that they pass, anything, they sabotage it. We also do not want that. But we hope the executives, legislature, judiciary, no matter what arm of government you are, that you understand that the interest that comes first is that of Nigerians. So if that conversation was really And I would like to believe that, as Mariah is, painted, that it's really about, we had a Bosun Tijani. He was rude to you, even personally. Of course, he was rude to Nigerians, unpatriotic in some of his tweets. But we have seen that beyond that, he's a person that has a lot to give Nigeria, and we're even willing to forgive him. He has asked for an apology. And now we brought another person who, well, we have seen his antecedents, we've seen what he's done. And he has also been quite rude, has not even answered our summons before. This is not someone that carries himself like, a person that will want to be minister. Why have you picked him? And if he's also able to explain to them on the reasons why he picked him, that they feel puts Nigeria first, then I'm down with it. But, as Nigerians will question, what are those things that were discussed that made you people agree that he can...
We got to go on a break. I know that we choose to believe that they just did paddy, and it might not be paddy. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we get a few calls, and Sweet, stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the ministerial nominee screening, the one that took place yesterday especially. I'm told we have Yakub on the phone. Good morning, Yakub. Thanks for calling. Oh, I'm so sorry. He's been holding for a minute. Let's take a few comments on social media and see what people are saying concerning this. But, I mean, at least I'm happy that the Senate seemed to come across eventually as more critical. Although it might come across a bit as personal
vendetta.
But, at least in some cases, they asked the right questions. I saw a few also yesterday. But let's take a few comments on social media and then see what people are saying concerning the screening that happened yesterday. Toko, you have any?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm not seeing...
So while you're looking for that, let's talk about the fact that there are 3 people who are still, I'm told, that are yet to be confirmed. So I'm told that former governor of Kaduna El Rufai, we have Danladi and Okotete, Stella Okotete. Those are 3 people that they're waiting to actually confirm. The Senate failed to confirm the nomination of these people after its 7 days of screening of the 49 ministerial nominees. I'm trying to see the reason why they gave...
They haven't given...
No, they
have not collected all their
data.
So is it security clearance, I think is what we're waiting for. But with the headline, it's almost like we did not agree for these ones. And of course, I had to read, the body of that text because, I mean, everyone here, most people were quite impressed with Malam El Rufai and how he presented himself at the screening. And Okotete also were quite excited because she's female, young, and she seemed quite vibrant and she had quite a good CV as well. So I guess it's just the security screening and that may take a while. But because he's Malam El Rufai, I thought we know him.
Well, let's talk about the... Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about Mr. Keyamo's tweets. When he got nominated, he tweeted...
Who's that?
Mr. Keyamo, Festus
okay.
Keyamo, he tweeted and said he's a miracle working.
I saw that.
He was type singing. So I'm guessing that first of all, I asked myself, like, this kind of celebration, are you really there? Are you excited that you've been nominated to go and serve, or you're excited that, okay, this is a forever meal ticket?
Nigerians, be optimistic for a second.
Yes,
now.
but then...
the worst of the situation.
Number two, the way he celebrated, it was as though that there were already conspiracies before his nomination, that didn't want him to get on board. So
he said it, of course there were.
No, he said that he thought that he had given up on the possibility of being nominated. He and his family were traveling. They were going out already. But once he got the message, he had to cancel his trip.
People were trolling him on social media. They were making for the after so I guess that's why he...
Let me take this call. Come to you, okay. Toke from Magodo, thanks for calling.
7755.
You're live, Toke.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm Toke. I called last week, and I really want to express my gratitude to everyone. My friend tagged me on your social media handle.
Oh, Toke, we've been looking for you.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness, you're Toke?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
On Facebook and on YouTube. I'm grateful for everybody trying to reach out.
Oh, my goodness, thank you for calling back. You've been trying to get your phone number. Please, let our producers get your number, because so many people have been trying to reach out to you. So many people on my messages. It's unbelievable.
I tried calling the studio, but I've not been lucky. Well, I just tried this morning because a friend of mine mentioned my name on your Facebook yesterday.
I hardly check those things.
Yes. And he tried to mention my name on your YouTube too. And he actually came to my house this morning.
Oh,
and
fantastic. I'm so glad you called us back. We're not sure. We didn't want to announce because we don't want the whole of Nigeria to become Toke overnight. So I'm happy that you called in again. Thank you so much, Toke. It was a fantastic testimony you shared, and many of us would like to support you the best we can. So I'm happy our producers will have your number and will reach out to you. Going back to the matter, what are the lessons we've learned concerning this last few days, 7 days right now, of the screening? Like, it's like what you do will bite you. If you're not careful, everything we say can be used against you in the Senate.
On a sarcastic note, I learned that our senators are very, very forgiving. Yeah. I learned that our senators are we have very forgiving members that are representing us in the House, that if you apologize, they always let things go.
No, but isn't that
You know
Nigerians?
that Nigerians are very forgiving like this.
No, Nigerians are very forgiving.
But
thank you for bringing that up.
It's real.
Let's bring that. That's a Nigerian factor. We are very forgiving. How much do we need? If governor today of any state just fix roads more, do small aesthetics for a hospital, do small classroom, don't do anything. Right. Just we'll be happy. We are okay. I mean, Nigerians don't like wahala. We are very forgiving. Do something to music. He's just 16 years old now. Please just forgive him. Let him go. We don't go by the rule, by the books. Somebody was saying recently that I think it was a movie I watched. Where a little boy did something. His father told him that you're going to pay me back $200 for this thing that you damaged in the house. The boy worked for 7 months. Wow. It was a Nigerian father. After you do 1 or 2 days work, okay, you've tried. Bring it back. Don't worry. At least you've message and sent. But this boy, 7 months, he worked. His father saw the struggle. He was struggling. It didn't stop him. That's 7 months pay. To $200. So, but we're not like that.
We're too forgiving.
Wait, what you have just said, you have answered many life's problems.
It's true.
Many things.
We don't.
Why we act the way that we do. You're so right. We are, I don't know, is it forgiving? And we're expected, and also Nigerians as well, we can shout about something 1 minute and then after someone comes and apologizes. We don't have a system that insists on punishment or prosecution for what is done wrong. So we would have heard there's names that we've heard before that how dare those people even show their faces in public space in Nigeria, but they are running for offices, they are being nominated or appointed for different sort of offices. And so that is what, when we talk about corruption or we talk about, when we're here talking about a certain situation, we're saying name and shame this person, is that really we do not want to name and shame. Because we're also saying to ourselves that you just never know when you find yourself in those shoes. Someone will use it against you another time if you insist on your right or insist on the truth. But the truth is that story you just said, if we're doing ourselves.
Yeah.
In the end, if we are able to put down a system where people who do wrong, like real wrong, are punished, and that message is sent, we will have people coming up later being careful of how they behave, what they say, how they behave in office, what they do with government and people's resources. Yeah. But
I have another example. I'll come to you in a second. I have a caller. Yakub, thanks for calling.
Yeah.
You're live.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mariah, concerning this Festus Keyamo, I thank God that, and then let me go give kudos to the senator that raised the issue yesterday. That shows that they really, really want to work for Nigerians. I like the fact that the senator got up and raised the issue as far back as 2 years ago. Because that shows that they really want to represent us. Because even though Festus Keyamo is my man, I still love him so much. I like that guy because of his stance concerning the corruption and all that. Because now that the Senate raised this issue, and then he came back, and then he apologized. And then the apology was taken. But I didn't believe they did not raise that issue. That means that the incoming minister, they can also do the same thing. But now that's a signal to them that if they make invite you or ask a representative invite you to ask some certain questions concerning Nigeria at your disposal. You need to answer them because answering them is answering to Nigerian citizens.
Yeah.
But let me even say this. No, I support you for one thing that you said this morning because for the fact that the Senate go on a closed session and then they went to Mr. President to seek for clarification concerning this Festus Keyamo, that does not necessarily mean that they are rubber stamp because don't forget that both of them are in the same party and then they know that Mr. President sent this message for them to clarify, to be able to clear them. But certain thing is coming up in Senate. So if in order for them not to disagree with Mr.
Thank you very much, Yakub. Let me come to you, Damola. You're going to say something earlier because this issue of paddy, you know, you bow and go, we already know you are a person. It's not just a Senate thing, no. It's a purely Nigerian factor. We all do it in different ways. Do you agree?
Yes, a lot of people actually do. But if I want to talk about myself,
yes.
Even some of my friends know that I do not give out gigs just because you are my friend. You have to have the competence. You know, I have some friends that have businesses and then they say, oh, Damola, you haven't patronized me, but you're not showing what I like. Maybe the thing is hanging here and hanging there. And I think a lot of people need to actually check their integrity, know what you want, so that when you see what you do not want, you can easily identify. And what I've learned in the course of this screening exercise is that what I cannot defend to the end, I will not start it because I do not want to be embarrassed on a national TV. And that's why it's important to criticize constructively, so that when push comes to shove, you can actually stand by it and say, yes, I said this thing, and these were the reasons. Because, for example, this Bosun Tijani's issue, he said all those things out of frustration. His frustration was actually valid, but he's been made to apologize because of the kind of words he used. Yeah. So it is important to understand, you know, the importance of constructive criticism and be able to stand by what you mean. Let people know you for who you are.
Yeah.
This is
I have an interesting example that's going to indict me and the leaders of your view. So this is what happened. Nima loves to greet people happy birthdays. Love, and she started it. And gradually we started getting requests. Everybody, so tomorrow's my birthday, oh, please, your birthday. Everybody will send us messages and we'll be greeting. After a while, our banter became about birthdays. It wasn't about, because our viewers loved to hear how did you spend your evening, how did you spend your weekend. But we're now focused on saying happy birthdays because we're getting a lot of requests. Then the company said, hello, ladies, no more happy birthdays. Just greet maybe your husband, your wife, your husband, family, only close family will allow you to only greet only your close family for birthdays. No more general fans, everybody greeting. That's the rule, but not the ladies. There's one friend, one close friend, one close auntie somewhere, one uncle somewhere. They will send you a message, please, tomorrow is my birthday. They will now slide it in. Hey, well, I have one uncle like this, his birthday is tomorrow. You know, it's a family member. It's not a, when they say family member, telling you, it's mommy, daddy, children. That's the rule.
We are Africans.
But because we are Africans, because somebody will send us a message, assist now, tomorrow is my birthday now, please let me greet it. It's your cousin, or it's my neighbor's friend, or it's somebody that just knows you will send you a message, and you break the rule because you want to satisfy. Same thing. Bow and go. We are paddy, we're friends. You're my your governor, we're friends now. Though we're not allowed to, we're supposed to screen you, but you're my friend. Don't worry, just bow and go. It's the same thing. We all do it to each other. So it's easy to say, oh, it's them. But we are all part of the system. We're all Nigerians. That's the truth. We're going to wrap up.
So bow and go, obviously, we all disagree with it, and we want it completely expunged. Okay. You know, bow and go should be expunged. Nobody should be allowed to bow and go. We could understand what...
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me hold you for a second. Abraham has been holding for a minute. I'll come back to you. Abraham.
Hello, yes, thank you. Good morning.
Yes. You're live.
Thank you for this program. I always appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
I am a sports caller.
Welcome to the show.
God bless you. Now, on the issue of Festus Keyamo, the issue is that we have to go to the root of the matter. I don't think he has offended anybody. When he was, yes, so we have to go down to the root of that matter. Much as I believe in separation of power and the checks and balances, because the Senate represent the grassroots people, they are closer to us, so they are the voice of the people. But when you are invited on frivolous issues, or when the invitation, the purpose of that invitation is not transparent, we all belong to this country. Keyamo initiated that program, and it got some volumes of money Keyamo said no. So everybody has principle. Keyamo is not a rubber stamp minister, and I really supported him throughout. And a lot of meaningful Nigerians supported him. He was working with Buhari. He was working with cabinet. He was working with APC. He was working with many significant figures in this country. If you are taking a wrong step or done something wrong, I think those people should have corrected him. He did it very well. All the allowances, the constancy allowances that the senators were receiving, who did they make account for? Have they ever accounted for anybody in this country?
Thank you very much for bringing that angle, because really there wouldn't have been need for a closed session if the issues were allowed to be laid out openly. Let us know what happened. That's what he's just giving us an inkling to possibly what could have
And if
actually
you remember,
transpired.
I think that issue was about the list, right?
Yes.
And
Who made the list? Whose list it was?
Some senators allegedly were trying to insert some people
people.
on the list.
So those kind of conversations, they didn't want us to have it publicly. So that's why they say, let's have a closed-door session. Because we might be guilty
So
in
maybe
this
they were
conversation.
protecting themselves more than that they were seeking rubber stamp from the executive.
And many people were of the opinion that it was a personal vendetta against Festus Keyamo in the way they addressed him.
But he's in their plenary,
But
hello?
whichever way it played out, whenever we do, we apologize. Even as parents, when our children apologize, we always ask, do you know what you're apologizing for? Because some people apologize just because they feel you want to hear an apology. So I will give you what you want to hear so that I can go. But we should always clarify what are we apologizing for.
Well,
in the case of Bosu, he defended what he said, and the apology was for the language used. In the case of Keyamo, he also defended that, the way the money was disbursed, I was not personally involved. BVN was gotten for every person that the money got paid to, and it was a direct bank transfer. So what was the apology for? Because I did not show up when you invited me to come. Or for
Which is also important.
I wasn't sure if that was what it was. However, I'm inclined to believe that that's the thing that was left for apology to be made for, because what you said is heavy, that Nigeria is an apologizing country and we are quick to forgive. We don't try cases. And I just want to spend just 30 seconds to 1 minute to explain what the impact is. If you go to the hospital and you had a bad experience, and rather than taking the doctor to court, you accept the apology and you go. The next patient might suffer worse and the person dies. But what you went through, if you took the doctor to court without accepting the apology, you would apologize, accept the apology, but still take the doctor to court. Why? So that in future, that doesn't happen again. That's why we must have consequences and we must pursue cases till the end.
That's all we can take on this segment. Finally, would people have apologized if they didn't have to face being nominated? I mean, they probably never would have apologized in the first place, but that's all we can take on this segment.
They've learned a lesson, so have we.
Everybody has learned that lesson.